Future designers and developers, oh boy, I'm so excited we've gotten, I kid you not, my favorite lesson of all time. Today we are going to be doing a little more practice with pseudo elements by completing the CSS battle number 8, target 44. A little thing before we get started, when you're submitting this, you should have a screenshot that looks like this. It's got your code, your solution, and your target. I don't want just a screenshot of the target because that is not a true evidence that you completed the assignment. So this link will take you over to this target right here. So let's create this using pseudo elements. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make these 5 rectangles and then use pseudo elements, their before and after, to take these circles and carve out the shape. So let's try and do this as quickly as we can. So I am going to use a div to start. I'm going to give this a class of container. And then inside of this div, I'm going to have several other divs that I am also going to give a class, and I'm going to call that bar. I'm not really going for the shortest number of characters here. I'm just trying to create as many elements as I can. Just make it look clean, make it more concise. All right, cool. So now I've got this container element, I've got these bar elements, and let's modify all the bars so they look like how they're supposed to be. So I'm going to say dot bar, and for each of these, they should have this background. So I'm going to take this color and throw that into the background over here. And let's play around with the height. Let's give them a height of 100 pixels, or 10 pixels is too much. Might be 5 pixels. And let's do a width. It looks like the width is a little short. We're going to do 200. They are going to be a little bit larger than what we need, so we'll eventually kind of modify them a little bit. Right now it looks like I just have the one that is displaying, so let's modify our container. I'm going to throw out all this starter code that I don't really need. We'll delete all that. Cool. So let's start with actually the body. The body, we're going to give a background of this value over here. Cool. And let's give it a display of grid and a place content center. Cool. Now everything is in the middle, and I can see that my div is still a little too tall, so we'll change that in a moment. I'm going to go over to a new rule that I'll say is dot container. Give that a display of flex. Oh, maybe they're actually not big enough. They're all just stacked. Yeah, that's what it was. Let's do a flex direction of column, because we now want these 5 to be stacked on top of each other. Direction of column. Cool. And let's give it a gap of, I don't know, it's probably going to be the same as the other one, 10 pixels. Yeah, it looks like it's now much less than what we need. We'll do 20 pixels. All right. And then let's play around with this bar height. Let's give that a height of 20 pixels. How's that looking? Oh, that is like spot on. That's perfect. We can compare the difference. Yeah, that's looking really good. Sweet. So now that we have this in the middle, I don't care that there's a little bit of extra. We really could try and get as little as possible, but now I'm going to use pseudo elements to create these circles on the side of it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my container and give this a position of relative, because that's going to allow me to position the circles relative to the container itself. So let's call out container after. We're going to give it a content of nothing because there's not going to be anything in it besides a circle. Let's give it a height of 200 pixels and a width of 200 pixels. It's going to be pretty big. Oh, actually, because I don't know the exact size. Let's do an aspect ratio of 1. That means that however tall it is, it's also going to be wide, which is going to be super easy for resizing because it's going to be a circle. Let's give it a border radius of 50%. I'm going to give it a background of red right now just so we can see where it's at. And then let's give it a position of absolute. Cool. Now that we have this here, I can tell that it's definitely too small, but I'm going to start positioning it just a little bit. So I'm going to give it a left of to negative 100 pixels. Cool. And you can see this is kind of the main strategy of how we're going to go about this. So let's change the height. Let's make that 300. I think 300, and then let's give it a left of 150. No, that's definitely not enough. We'll do negative 250. Let's move it up. Top of negative 100 pixels. Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit more of the guess and check work. I'm going to just turn on the difference right here so that we can kind of align this. The radius is looking pretty good, actually. So let's move this down. Instead of top of negative 100, do 70. Cool, that's looking all right. Let's do 65. 65 is getting close. Oh, I did 67, 65, do 60. There we go. That is spot on. Perfect. Cool. So I'm now going to take this and I'm going to swap my color red for the standard background. And now that's cut out. Perfect. All right, now we got to do the same thing, but for the before. So I'm going to take this container after. I'm going to paste this and swap this for before. And instead of doing a left of negative 125, let's do a right. Cool. Now you can see it has been cut out. I can turn the difference on. Seems to be totally black except a little bit of outline. Let's see if we hit submit. It's grading, it's grading, it's grading. A 99.9 match. Beans, we're so close. Well, anyways, that's going to do it. I think if you get 99.9, that's perfect. If you get 100, pat on the back. Big kudos. All right, that's going to do it for our lesson today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please make sure that you are reaching out and enjoy the snow.